Welcome, seekers of the unknown, as we pull back the veil between the living and beyond. Unraveling questions that plague our minds, and oftentimes presenting the evidence that may prove them true. Let us take you on a journey where paranormal becomes normal, and where what is right behind you just might be echoes of the afterlife or something more. But fair warning, once you step into the supernatural with us, you might just stay haunted.
Hello and welcome to Stay Haunted, everyone. Welcome back.
Yep.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas.
Excuse the cough.
Yep.
Everybody's been sick, it sounds like.
Todd's allergic to mice. Everybody's getting this northeastern cold that's been going around. And
Crap. It's been going on.
Mother Nature's bipolar. It's 61 one day and 20 the next.
Right?
It's snowing for you guys, at least, anyway.
Yeah.
So
crap.
to give everybody a heads up, yesterday Audra's aunt brought her car over so I could do some work on it for her. I'm out in the garage. It's 62 degrees. It's raining out, but it's gorgeous. I had no jacket on. I was in a t-shirt. I was sweating. Wake up this morning. It's 19 degrees with 40 to 50 mile an hour gust. It's been snowing all damn day long. It was so windy today. They didn't start salting the roads until about an hour ago. So the roads were icy. I-75 north of Detroit. There's pileups everywhere. 60 degrees to 19 in pileups.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mother Nature's not having her cycle. It's reversed. It is reversed. Once again, I hope everybody had a really great Christmas. It was definitely a fun one.
Yep.
Busy with family.
Yep.
Before we ask how your guys' weekend went, I do have one announcement. This is close and near and dear to my heart.
You're pregnant?
No, I look pregnant, but I'm not. The 2026 Montgomery House investigation schedule is now live and out on PiedmontParanormal.com.
Yay!
Guys, the investigations run from 7:30 to 3 a.m. at the Montgomery House, the 1830s plantation house in North Carolina, Mount Gilead, at the base of Uwharries Mountain that Audra and I used to control, and that Todd and Carmela have investigated with us a couple times. Ron and Lourdes came out and investigated with us. Some other people came out, but they're not worth talking about. And guys, $37.50 a person for 7:30 to 3 a.m. at the Montgomery House. And all that money goes to the Montgomery County Historical Society to preserve that house and keep it there for another 200 years. It's 194 years old. Is that right? Yeah, 194 years old. And the house is still sitting on the original foundation where it was originally built in 1830.
Yep.
I miss visiting Mrs. Montgomery. The old
I
place.
miss her too.
And we were only there 2 times, and she grew on us fast. So
Well, she either grows on you or she kicks your ass. One of the two.
Yep.
It's
right.
One of the two.
So, all right. How was your? So I know you started to talk about it. How was your Christmas week with family and friends and all that?
Oh, we had family falling out of our ears. Our son Alex was up here from Raleigh. He's going to NC State down there. Of course, for anybody that doesn't know, Audra's son, my stepson, our son, Alex, he graduated from GCU with a business degree, and then he joined the Air Force. He was in the Air Force for 6 years. He stepped out. He's getting his chemical engineering degree, and then he's going to go back in. So right now he's up at NC State in Raleigh. He came up and spent a week with us for Christmas. And her sister was here. Our nephew was here that we raised him from high school. He was up here. Dave from Key West was up. Cousin Dave was up.
Nice.
It was an honor Christmas for sure. It was drunk. It was intense. Game night. It was
drinking games. I know. I texted you. I said, "Hey, what kind of drinks have you had?" And you're like, "What haven't we had?"
Right. I can tell you right now, Audra's parents are phenomenal. I love them. I love them to death. I would do anything for them. When you go over to their house, There is not one drop of alcohol that you could not request that is not in that home. There was more alcohol on the counter Christmas Eve night than there was food for dinner.
I was going to say
Well,
presents.
it's more important.
No, the presents were under the tree. The alcohol's on the table because you got to be able to get to the
Yeah,
alcohol
yeah.
easily. The presents come after the alcohol.
Yes.
Ohio people can drink, y'all. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Christmas?
How'd everything go?
Okay.
We're
I
getting
spent Christmas alone, actually. Christmas
Oh,
Day, I was alone.
Christmas Day. She was alone. Yeah, we were battling getting over the head cold from 2 weeks ago. I think we're finally on the mend. Fingers crossed. We did Tuesday night, the 23rd. We did with
My family.
your
my
family.
sister's family. All the little kids, so much fun, and see how they get so excited.
Yeah, just seeing their eyes, that youthfulness, get excited with Christmas presents and stuff like
And
that.
then they're over it in a second.
Tearing paper, wrapping paper all over the place. So it was a good time. And then Christmas Eve,
We were Cheyenne's
we
family.
went with our oldest son's fiance to her family's house and had a nice little dinner there. And then we Christmas
All went our
Day.
separate ways Christmas Day.
Yeah, Christmas Day, everybody goes their kind of separate ways. We opened with the boys and our mother-in-law,
My mother.
Carmela's mother.
I stayed home, and everybody else went elsewhere.
Yeah, the boys did their things on Christmas. I went to my sister. Carmela's mom was feeling a little bit under the weather, so she stayed home just to make sure she was okay. Went to my sister's, spent a little time with my sister and stuff. And I know we talk about signs all the time, and not to be forgotten, we enjoy the time that we spend with our loved ones that are still with us, but near and dear to our hearts are the loved ones and friends that are no longer with us, that we celebrate during the Christmas holiday season. One of the things that happened, and I think I mentioned it, sent it to you and Chris and Audra, was we were open presents, and my TV has
Like a screensaver.
a screensaver or whatever, and I had never noticed it before. And I'm thinking of my mom and my nephew Casey, who passed away earlier this year unexpectedly, and I was thinking about them too. And I just happened to look up when it was on standby mode, and I see a little scrolling thing, and it says, "Hello, Carol."
And Carol's
And
mom.
Carol is my mom's name, who passed away 17 years ago. So I was just like, if that's not a sign, I know Rich Michelle talks about those little signs all the time. And I texted him that, and he's like, yep. And he's like, and now I went back and looked, and it was still there multiple times, but I'm just like,
We've
I had
never noticed it.
before. So it was just one of those things. So,
Everybody waits for the burning bush. It's the little
Right.
signs.
but, and then we have, it's kind of bittersweet. Your uncle passed away earlier in December. So the cousins from Florida are up from Florida. We have funeral services tomorrow for Carmela's uncle, who sadly passed away in the beginning of December. So it's kind of bittersweet because we get to spend some quality time with them, but it's,
We had nothing but a bunch of 20-year-olds, 20 to 23-year-olds in the house. I was up till 3 a.m. just doing whatever with them. You were sound asleep.
I had to tap out. I
But
went
I
and took Mucinex and went to sleep.
It was just fun. It was just fun to be with all of them.
So,
I like having everybody here.
Yeah.
I like having a full house.
Yep. It's always fun having that family craziness, and then you kind of like, I need a breather at some point.
Yeah.
But is it?
Yeah,
a
but we're going somewhere else tonight.
yeah.
Yep.
So.
So it's quiet tonight.
I do have one question, and I need Scott. I know Scott from Piedmont Paranormal's in the chat. I need to ask a question. Where did the 3750 come from? Because that seems like an
That's
oddball
a
number.
great number.
It's just oddball.
Hmm.
Not that I'm complaining. It's just
Lucy and Catherine are watching.
I can paint your car for $99.95.
That's too funny.
That's funny.
So
My niece and great niece are watching, and she just texted me and said, Catherine's watching and wants to know if she can call Todd. She's watching him on TV.
so
An hour.
in an hour.
And an hour,
In 1 hour,
Catherine. You can
Catherine,
call
1 hour.
1 hour.
So
Guys, we have a good friend of ours that we haven't seen in a while. He was on our old podcast a couple times. Our canceled podcast. We won't get into that. Our previous podcast. We won't get into that. But good friend of ours, good friend of Todd Carmela's. Guys, this is a very predominant figure in the paranormal community. And if you guys have ever been up near Salem, you ever been up near Boston, You got to know who he is if you're in the paranormal. If you don't have your eyes open. You're not paying attention. You're not watching TV. You're not reading books, and you just suck. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
You don't suck. We just don't like you very much. No, I'm just kidding.
And you suck, but it's fine.
I'm getting kicked already. The show just started.
Yeah.
You've been scot-free for being kicked for a couple of shows now, Chris.
That's
so
true.
it's over.
I know. I'm trying to make up for the non-kicked shows.
Right.
I'm missing a few bruises. Guys, tonight we have Sam Baltrusis. He's an author and a TV expert specializing in historical haunts. Sam, the author of Ghosts of Salem, Haunts of the Witch City, and featured in The Curse of Lizzie Borden, has penned. Sorry, guys, I'm getting old. I can't see. 20 paranormal themed books, including Haunted Boston Harbor and Ghosts of the American Revolution. He has been featured on several national TV shows, including the Travel Channel's Haunting, Most Terrifying Places, Haunted Towns, and Fright Club 1 and 2. Sam also made a cameo appearance in the documentary The House in Between 2. If you haven't seen it, great. Watch 1 and 2. They're both phenomenal. And several additional television programs, including History's Most Haunted, Paranormal Nightshift, and Forbidden History. Sam is a sought-after lecturer who speaks at libraries, paranormal-related events worldwide. You can visit him at sambaltrusis.com. And Sam is also a really, really phenomenal medium, guys. Everybody say hello to Sam.
Hello. Welcome, Sam. Where's the applause?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yeah, more applause.
Come on. There you go.
There you go.
We always
Welcome,
forget we
Sam.
have the little fun things.
Yeah, we forget we have
I'm
one.
a little disappointed. You left a shitload out of your bio.
I mean, I did, but it was already 3 pages long. So I'm just trying to make it where you can talk, because even when people are reading my actual bio, it's it goes on and on, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just focus on the important stuff.
So we since this is your first time on Stay Haunted, we like to let people know, explain to people how this, and I'm probably sure I know the answer to this, but explain to people how you got into the paranormal this deep, how it started and how it got this deep.
Yeah, that's actually a good question. But people do ask you how you got involved with the paranormal. So I just got back from Florida, so I was back to sort of ground zero for me. I had abilities since I was a little kid. When I was a child, my grandfather, who I also feel was gifted as well, would visit me pretty much we would have conversations, and my mom was like, "Who are you talking to, Sam?" I'm like, "Granddaddy," and he already passed. So I had that when I was a child, and then I had an experience with a man wearing a hat when I was younger with my sister. And we still we talk about it, but it's one of those things that's kind of a taboo topic in our family, because it was something that really terrified me to the point where I put on blinders for most of my childhood and my young adult life, where I would have things happen and I was just I can't, if it's paranormal, I was trying to explain it was something else, that was happening. But when I was a journalist for 20 years. And as I was a journalist, I did use my abilities, but I kind of did it on the DL. So I was trying to not be open about it. And then I started writing books. I wrote an article that turned into my first book, Ghosts of Boston. And my first book was allegedly haunted location. It was very much trying to be I was trying to be as skeptical as possible, kind of present both sides, or objective as possible. And then it just it kept going and going. And then my abilities started kind of happening while I was on locations. And I'm like, I can't hide this anymore. So I just, came out of the crystal closet, and I'm like, you know what? I'm a medium, and I'm an author. And I'll be honest with you. Once you kind of become open with your abilities, people focus on that and not on your writing. And that's 2025 for me has been kind of about that. It's more about, I want people to respect the fact that, I work my ass off for the books that I write and the research that I put into my books. Yep. And the mediumship is complementary to what I do, but I back everything up with facts. So it's important for me to I mean, I guess to be known for my writing and my research skills first, and then my mediumship is just secondary, and it's a part of who I am.
That's
Yeah.
I like that, and I appreciate it
Yes,
because
agreed.
you're going, hey, recognize me not for my natural abilities, recognize me for the hard work I did, busting my ass, recording this and writing these books. I didn't, not that your mediumship or anything doesn't add value, but at the same time, it's a natural ability that you've had your entire life. The actual hard work was put into the books and the TV shows and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Recognize somebody for their busting their ass. Don't just recognize them for something that they have the ability to do. That's fantastic. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, and of course, I mean, with mediumship, that you have to work at that as well. It's a muscle that you have to work. Right. I find that, so I teach a group called Spirit Squad, and Spirit Squad is a group of up and coming mediums that I meet on via Zoom pretty much every Monday night. So for me, like I love being a teacher when it comes to mediumship, and not necessarily for me, like being on television and being a medium on television. It's a lot of like, what if I get something wrong? So if you watch me on these shows, I'm literally just like, I'm like, what if this is wrong? So I have a lot of self-doubt with my abilities still, even though I know that I know what I'm doing, and I know that I'm good, but I still doubt myself. And so I find that less pressure when you're with a group of fellow mediums that I sort of mentor. And I love this group. They're so supportive. And I love working in a group, kind of in a bubble with my mediumship. And I'll tell you, we do some amazing work as Spirit Squad. But when I kind of thrust out there on television, and they're like, okay, Sam, like you mentioned House in Between too. Steve basically like he's like, okay, you can't use your dowsing rods. You have to go in Alice's backyard, and what do you pick up? And I'm like, I can't use my dowsing rods. Like, what am I gonna do? So I was walking around the property. I'm like, okay, birds, like respond to me if there's I'm like, if this is correct, let me know. And the birds start like cawing, and Alice, her chin drops. That was like, birds, respond to me, you know. And
that's good. I mean, that's awesome that you got that response. Yeah, I mean, that's because you're almost like, it's almost like not having that, like you're not that you're relying on those, but that's a tool that you use to help in your, you know, with communicating.
My dowsing rods are my validation, and that's why I actually do like working with paranormal investigators because I feel like that they are able to validate what I'm picking up. And so I do like working in tandem with them. I mean, you mentioned Ron and Lourdes. I worked a lot with Ron and Lourdes. They're able to validate what I'm picking up, and when that happens, it's magic. So I do like having tools to use out in the field, but when you don't, rely on the birds. They'll respond.
I'm going to go outside tomorrow morning and say, birds talk to me. Somebody talk to me. Somebody chirp for me, so I know you're there. Just do something. We're going to see if it works.
There we go.
I want to point out that something that Sam said that I just think is phenomenal is, you know, he said you get on TV, you know, we still, as people with abilities like Audra and I, we're both sensitive in our own ways. Together, we work great together. But at the same time, we don't reveal how much we're picking up to anybody but close friends that we're investigating with, like Todd and Carmela. We don't, if we're investigating with new people, it'll be like, hey, I heard this. Did you hear that? But we won't start spitting out things that when you're in a group of people that you're not used to being around, you're not comfortable with, it's hard to spit out everything, because if you don't get that validation, it not only does it make you feel like you're spitting out stuff, maybe I'm thinking too hard, but it also goes, maybe these people think I'm an idiot, right? So I respect you for that, because you actually come forward and you're saying, hey, I'm picking this stuff up and I'm feeling it, but I'm afraid to say it in front of people. And that's true mediumship right there. That is fantastic.
One of the things,
we just call ourselves sensitive. We don't call ourselves medium because we don't want people going, well, what do you feel now?
Right.
I know as far as the validation part, I know I've brought this up before on previous shows, but when we investigated the Montgomery house, and Carmela's, we've been together since high school, Sam, and I always thought she was crazy, but she's seen my mom and family members and stuff like that, even when she was, you know, younger and stuff like that, and had experiences. And since we're relatively new to investigating, she she would always send stuff. And then we were actually at the Montgomery house with Chris and
It
Audra.
took them 30 years to believe
So-
me. 30
Only 30 years.
Just 30 years.
So we're in just a quick little, tie into the validation part that you talk about. Was I'm standing outside Miss Montgomery's bedroom in the Montgomery house. Carmela's standing across from me, and she's like, "Don't move." Chris and Audra were all there, and I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "Oh, there's somebody behind you, a female."
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that.
And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, let me take a picture." I'm like, "Hell no!" I moved. They still took the pictures, and then when we took the pictures on Carmela's phone, Chris played with it, did the little contrast and stuff, and damn, wasn't there a full-on
Mrs. Montgomery's face was right.
It was actually a picture. I mean, it was a spot-on picture for Mrs. Montgomery. So that was validation
Then a
for
light
her.
went on, and he said, 30 years, I finally believe you.
It was like the booming light from above.
When you guys mentioned that location, like I'm like, I got to go there. Like
Yeah.
something about like when you were talking about it in the intro, I'm like, there is a woman there, and she's definitely wanting to communicate. So I would love to go. There's also, I mean, I'm getting that there's also like, I'm big about telling enslaved people's stories as well, and I think I'm getting that as well. And the issue with that is like, is that my story to tell? So that, and I always, like in House in Between 2, there was a situation when there was a lynching, and it was really difficult for me to say that on a documentary on that's going to air on television, because it's like, is that really my place to tell? But it's my responsibility as the medium brought at a location to tell what I'm picking up, whether or not. I mean, hopefully it does match up with history, but I'm getting that for sure, and I think that there's a lot of stories that need to be told.
There is.
Absolutely.
There are, for sure.
Sam, you would love that location. So Audra and I found it, and then we'll get back to you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Audra and I found it when we first moved to North Carolina. We were just driving along the road and went, "Whoa, what is that?" And we stopped. I spent 3 months trying to find out who owned it, and it was the Montgomery County Historical Society. We went to them and said, "Hey, we'd like to investigate it, and if we can investigate it, we can get other investigators here, and all that money will go back to you."
Wow.
And they're like, "Okay, we'll let you investigate it." We investigated it, and we confirmed. We picked up a Joseph, a 5-year-old servant boy. They pulled up the 1870 census, and he was there. They actually had it. They verified what we had picked up. We got like 4 or 5 EVPs. We confirmed Mrs. Montgomery was in the house, and they were sold. They gave us the key. We controlled it for 4.5 years that we lived there, and then turned it over to Piedmont when we moved to Ohio. Yeah. So exactly what you're saying. The longer we were there, the more spirits came out of the house that had been there. We only picked up a couple in the beginning. By the time we left, there's at least 4 or 5 that are always there and they're active.
Yeah.
So I think you would have a fantastic time in that house.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you said the name, I'm like, I got to go there. Like, it's I'm also, because I live in the Boston area, and I kind of, though, as we talked about earlier, that the weather here, I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I have to find a location that is not as cold as it is up here in New England. So I'm actually looking at North Carolina, and I'm looking at. I mean, my mom is in Florida, so somewhere in between, where it's not too humid, or but it has seasons. But so North Carolina kind of works.
It did.
Yeah,
It does. State.
Beautiful state.
It's an awesome.
Weather is very. You get near the Charlotte area, you're in between the flatlands and you're in between the hills, so it never gets too cold, never gets too hot, never gets too stormy. The storms always go around. Charlotte, weather-wise and topography wise and the animals and stuff is gorgeous. So we love North Carolina for that. The people,
yeah.
Some of the people were fantastic.
I'm like, Piedmont.
Some of the people were fantastic. Most of the people in that area.
So Sam, I do have a question. You talked about, because we know you're an excellent author and historian, and so how do you balance that mediumship and author aspect of, trying to find time to write a book versus when you go, I guess you'd go and practice your mediumship?
Yeah, I mean, so the books are, I try my best to go to original sources for my writing, and does my mediumship make appearances in my books? It does. And I will tell you this: it's hard for me to kind of include my mediumship because people are like, "How does he know this?" And so I try my best to state clearly that I'm also a medium. But a lot of people that watch me on television, that's not. I have readers that are skeptics and more in the historical. They want history as opposed to mediumship. So it's a balance. So what I've done is I kind of segmented the writing. So the writing is focused on historical fact, but also I interview a lot of people. So I interview experts, say that they're experts at a location, like currently working on a book on Lizzie Borden, who's my distant cousin. And so I'm basically talking to people that have written books about it, people that focus on the murder. But of course, there's a section about, I did a show called Curse of Lizzie Borden. So I have investigated that location, including her later in life home, Maplecroft, over and over again. So I do have my mediumship. So it does make an appearance. It's just not the primary focus of the book.
Right. Okay. One other question. Do you have a new book that's coming out? And is it
I have 3 actually. So
you have 2, okay. The one I was going to ask about was because I think you're doing it maybe in the summertime-ish, maybe. Is it something to do with the Wilson Castle? Is that one of them?
Yeah, so I'm doing Haunted Castles of New England, and people are like, there are castles in New England? I'm like, actually, yes. There's several structures that were built. A lot of them were built like in late 1800s, early 1900s. For New England, that's not really ancient. Like there's a lot of locations that are like 1700s here. But some of these houses were like Hammond Castle in Gloucester, Massachusetts, Wilson Castle in Vermont. There's the Gillette Castle in Connecticut. So it's called Haunted Castles of New England. It should be coming out in June. And I spent a lot of time in Newport, Rhode Island, and that was amazing to go to some of the. There was a Beauport of Newport, and that is a beautiful location that is haunted.
Awesome. We've been to Wilson Castle once. When was it? We went in.
It was summertime. So it
was summertime. It was hot, but that's a beautiful place.
He was attacked by a bat.
Did you have bad experiences at Wilson Castle? I have.
Yeah. It's funny because the bats. Everybody that I know has had a bad experience, but I have not personally had a bad experience. I've been in the house when bats have come out, but it's almost like a give off, like stay away from me. I do a crystal shield protection when I go into locations. We do the crystal shield protects my surroundings, but I've had experiences with elementals at Wilson Castle, which are not bats, but little entities that it could be neither good nor bad. But I had kind of a weird situation happen this past summer.
Interesting. So what part of any particular part of the castle that it occurred, or? It actually
happened outside. So so for me, I love Wilson Castle. Everything there has been the house is haunted by several spirits, and like Mr. Wilson, Colonel Wilson is one of the main people there. There's also a child spirit as well. But we actually had something. So I brought my group Spirit Squad to basically do like a psychic sweep of the location, and we did something outside. And my friend Heidi Kemper, she was supposed to be there to do the original. Like we were supposed to meet up together and then actually investigate later that night. So we had done our protection ceremony. We do like this protection circle before we investigate. She missed that, so she came in after. I do what's called a seance. So it's my version of a seance. Heidi started channeling Mrs. Johnson. So I forget her first name, but she was the wife of the original owner. And John Johnson, I think, was the husband. Anyway, so Mrs. Johnson was channeling Heidi, but then she steps out, and then this thing kind of comes into Heidi. Heidi gets taken over mid-seance, and she started hitting the table, and I thought she was going to jump over the table and like basically strangle me, because it was like it was very, very overwhelming. And this little critter basically jumped out of Heidi because we did a removal from it. I know this sounds kind of crazy, but this is our life, right?
Right.
And it jumps into 2 other people at it went from one person, removed it from her, and then it went to another person. So it basically this elemental jumped from person to person to person, and it was crazy. It was such a crazy night.
Wow.
And I'm going back. I can't wait. Yay.
I was evil. Remember, I felt so angry and so evil upstairs, where the coffin was. He said something to me, and I just became like this evil person. I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
like,
she didn't.
What
She wasn't normally her normal cheery self.
No, I started yelling at you, and I was saying the F word, and I'm like, I gotta get out.
Yeah, Heidi was sweet as pie, but she turned into, I don't know what she turned into. But she was like, I thought she was gonna strangle me. Like she jumped over we were at the pool table on the second floor, and she was hitting it and like yelling at me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is not Heidi.
That's what you used to. I think I was yelling like, who do you think you are? Don't talk to her. I don't know. I was yelling. I was angry. And everybody's staring at me, and I said, I think I need to get out.
Yeah, I had the bad experience where the pool table was,
and I hid under that pool table when the bat came. We actually were downstairs in in Colonel Wilson's his study, where on the first floor, right where you come in, kind of to the left there, and we basically got told to get out. But it was 2 a.m.
Yeah, it was like 3. It was going on 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was going. We had REM pods, and we were designated them as dead bells. We had a REM pod, 2 dead bells, and sure enough, we were like, kind of getting quiet, and we had a spirit talker going on the app, and it was basically something. Turn off the cameras, and like, do you want us to get out? Ding. So we're like, all right, time to go.
Yeah.
I love the dead bell. I love it, especially at Wilson Castle. It responds on command. I'm like, yes, I love it.
That's awesome.
Dead bell's awesome.
We love the dead pill. That's our favorite tool.
I know. That is a good one. It does respond like
it does
all the time. It's like
absolutely
it's amazing.
So Sam, you have a very rooted past in the Boston Salem area. Can you touch base on that for some of our viewers?
Yes, sure. So I moved back to I went to college here in the 90s, and I'm originally from Pensacola, Florida, and Chicago. People are like, how is that possible? My parents divorced. So my dad was in the Navy, lived in Pensacola, Florida, and then I lived in Chicago for about 8 years, and then went to college in Boston in the early 90s, not to age myself. And so I went to school here. I lived in New York City, moved to New York City for about 10 years, and then moved back to Boston in 2007. Salem has always been my Halloween go-to since I was in college. But again, I had the blinders on. I was terrified of anything. I thought Salem was very dark. So when I wrote my first book, Ghost to Boston, I was a tour guide in Boston. And then I'm like, if I'm going to write a book on Salem, my publisher was like really set on me writing a book on Salem. So, and this is 2012, 2013. And they were really set on me writing a book on Salem. So I actually immersed myself in Salem, and I gave tours in Salem, and I worked in Salem at the museums. And so it's one of those spots that are now near and dear to my heart. Turns out years later, I'm actually related to the bad guys. So this came out about 7 years after giving tours and being on television about the history in Salem, Massachusetts, and finding out that I'm related to the Putnams. The Putnams are major accusers in the Salem witch trials.
Oh,
wow. That's actually got to suck a little that you're so interested in the history, and you were so focused on the witch portion of it and the victimization of the girls being accused of being witches, and you're related to the guys that actually, punished them and treated them the way they treated them. How? So let me ask you, in internal turmoil there, being a medium and being related to that, isn't it kind of an oxymoron that they did that to what they did? They accused people of, and it actually, because it's somewhat genetic, don't you think, mediumship?
I do, yeah. So Ann Putnam Jr. was the accuser. She accused 62 people of witchcraft. I have connected to her. I mean, in fact, like when I would give my tours, I strongly connected to the spirits of the victims. So like Rebecca Nurse, like Giles Corey, who was pressed to death over a 2-day period. I would literally, because as a clairvoyant, I would actually see them on my tours, and they loved me. So I felt this kinship for the innocent people that were executed for witchcraft. Well, when I talked about the Putnams, I was like, the evil Putnams, and I was like, I really kind of demonized that family, because I feel like Ann Putnam Jr. was her dad, Thomas Putnam, was sort of like a puppet master. And so I feel like that he was responsible for. She was only 12 years old. She was a child, and she was so pivotal in accusing people that 62 people were accused, and a lot of those who were executed were her people that she accused. So she was, to me, the ultimate mean girl, and she was the one that I would say very clearly in my tours was what people perceive Abigail Williams. She was Abigail Williams. She was the real bad girl and the afflicted girls. So yes, it was completely rocked my world. I was emotionally heartbroken over it, because I love the innocent people, like the people that are on my tours, like the spirits from Salem, were my friends. And the fact that I somehow genetically was connected to the one that accused them and ultimately caused their execution broke my heart, and so I can't. So what I've done is I've tried my best to use my abilities to do some sort of like modern day healing when it comes to what happened in 1692, but it's a lot of work. I mean, it's sort of like there's so much darkness and so many layers and so much regret and so much guilt that there's been, I can't live in Salem, Massachusetts. I love Salem. I love everything about it, but because of the guilt that I have now that I know that I'm related to the Putnams, it's overwhelming for me. I can literally walk into Salem and I'll burst into tears. It's like that emotional for me.
Yeah, that's a sad thing.
Well, I can imagine not just the history behind it, but the negative paranormal, I call it pine tar, the negative paranormal pine tar that's still stuck there from everything that happened back then. I can imagine how Salem probably does feel dark just because of that negative energy that's still residual. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I go to places like I love Gettysburg. Gettysburg, I feel charged. So much death happened in Gettysburg, but something about Gettysburg, I can keep going and I don't feel affected. Salem is opposite. I feel very drained. I feel guilt. I feel the heaviness of what happened in 1692, but also what's happened since then too. There's a lot that's happened that I just am so connected to on a very deep level that I'm working through it. My current book, I'm actually going into sort of I feel like that there may be a family curse. So you mentioned like perhaps the mediumship did pass down from these people that I'm related to. I do. I think that is a gift that's passed down. And Ann Putnam Jr., like part of her accusations was spectral evidence. And spectral evidence is seeing the ghost of a person that supposedly is afflicting them, and so she may have been a clairvoyant. If you really wanted to go, she was, and of course that clairvoyancy was used to accuse innocent people, but she was picking up visions of Goody, Glover, or not Goody Glover, sorry, of like Bridget Bishop or Giles Corey, and she was seeing them and saying that they were afflicting her, and so I think that she was potentially clairvoyant.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Makes sense.
So, real fast, Sam, we do have a question from a viewer, one of our viewers. Question for Sam: have you ever felt deterred from going to a location from just pictures of the place, bad energy coming through the photo?
Yeah, and so I wrote a book called Fueled by Fear. There were several locations that I refused to go to. One was the Hinsdale House in New York. One was the Sally House. And I did a whole year, I call it the year of fear, where I would go to the places I swore I would never go to. And two of the places I went with Richard Estep, and I went with him, and he helped me kind of combat the fear that I had. The Sally house was the one I couldn't spend the night in because it just was too overwhelming for me. But I did successfully spend the night at the Hinsdale house. So I'm like, yeah.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah,
But with a light on though, and I slept on the couch, but I was able to. So yes, I do have there's one location that based on, she mentioned photos, and there's the Farnsworth house, which I've gone to. That's in Gettysburg, and I mentioned that I go there all the time. My friend Kayla, who works at the Farnsworth house, sent a photo that totally terrified me. It was like this photo of what looked like kind of like a parasitic entity that she picked up from the mirror in the basement or the cellar of the Farnsworth house. And it's like, based on that photo, I don't want to go back there. It's very dark. So I do feel that I've gone to places and then like have seen photos. I'm like, I'm not going back there, based on the photo. So photos have deterred me as well. I tell my students this all the time. If you get a red flag, there's a reason why you get a red flag.
Right.
And so I was just in New Orleans, and I kept being kept, like, when I was supposed to go to New Orleans for the past 2 years, and the things would happen, like a snowstorm in New Orleans happened last year, and I'm like, oh my god, like really?
All right.
The weekend I was supposed to go to New Orleans, there was a snowstorm. Other things happened, like I got sick the week before, so I actually able to go to New Orleans for the first time since before Katrina, because I actually I grew up close to New Orleans, so I would go there fairly often. That's where New Orleans was my first Salem. It was like, that's where I kind of learned my abilities, and I would have visitations when I was younger there. Didn't talk about it, but that, to me, New Orleans is very where I learned my craft, if you will, down in New Orleans. So I went back there. I went to this location that I wish I did not go to. I went to Bloody Mary's. There's Bloody Mary's is a museum in New Orleans. There was a crime scene. I didn't even know about what happened in this room, but above there was a horrific murder that happened. And I went there, and I have been affected from that for the past 2 weeks. It was absolutely horrible. The gentleman that was the perpetrator, he was still there, and he was asking for help. The woman that was murdered, I kept focusing on the stove and the refrigerator, and it turns out her body parts were put into these things. So it was horrible. I will never go back there. But I will say that that the woman that was murdered, she was no longer there. So she's in heaven. She's in a better place. Thank God. But the guy that was the perpetrator he still lingers there.
Right.
But so some places I feel like that should not be investigated, and that's what, to me, that's a location that I just would not recommend.
All right. So we
almost say that there's multiple locations in New Orleans. We went to New Orleans, and man, we loved it. We did the tour. We went through Marie Laveau's Cemetery 1 downtown. Yeah, I get we would skip, and there would be spots I'd be like, "Ooh, I'm really interested in this," and then there was other spots where it's like, "I don't want nothing to do with this one. Let's just move forward." There's dark spots, and then there's light spots where you get interested. New Orleans is a very spiritual location. It is.
It really is, and so people ask me all the time, like I say Salem is the most haunted city in the country, because I do feel like Salem is very haunted. To me, New Orleans is even more haunted. I mean, there's no denying New Orleans, like the activity there. I haven't been. I would go there regularly when I was growing up, but going back there as an adult, as someone that has kind of accepted my gifts and gone, it really, to me, New Orleans is the most haunted city in the country. And I hate to dethrone Salem, because I always say that Salem is the most haunted, but it really is.
With that. I mean, we can a lot of people with all the energy that, and the portrayals of voodooism and stuff like that, that's, it's understandable why you feel that New Orleans has that kind of energy and stuff like that. So I do want to ask you a question. We were talking about this before the backstage before we came on. We know you've had a couple personal, and tying into the snowstorm preventing you from going to New Orleans, you've had a couple personal things, and you mentioned that maybe it would be okay to talk about it during a show. With you had a fire at your location, your apartment, and stuff like that, and we thought maybe you were mentioning maybe you thought it had some type of paranormal connection.
Yeah. So basically, long story short, last year my apartment, which is not the one I'm currently in, it kind of looks similar to the way it was before. There was a freak fire that happened right above my apartment, and it wasn't actually in my apartment; it was above my apartment. And so there was a gentleman brought in a moped that caught on fire, and it set off the alarm. So the smoke damage and the water damage from the fire department putting out the fire basically destroyed. I had like the water in my apartment was up to my knees. All my research on Salem, on Lizzie Borden, on New England was destroyed in that fire. And I'm kind of old school on my research. I was a journalist in the 90s, so I would photocopy pretty much everything I've encountered. So all that research was destroyed. So when I was going back to retrieve my items, I looked up and I saw a man wearing a hat. And this is someone that I know very well in Salem, Massachusetts. He kind of appears to me when something bad is about to happen or happens. And I will be so the man with the hat actually, and it always has just been in Salem before. And so when my biological dad died, he showed up. Also, when my stepdad died, he showed up as well. So he's almost kind of like my personal harbinger. So he popped up the night before, and one of my students reached out to me and said, "Sam, I see fire engines around your home," and I'm like, "Chris, like that's crazy. Everything's fine." And then the right after that, the man with the hat kind of came through the wall, and I'm like, no, you're not allowed here. Go back.
Get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, you're not allowed here. And at the time, I didn't really view him as a harbinger. I actually viewed him as someone that was bad, like someone that really gave me the heebie-jeebies, and I wanted him to stay away from me. So I think he was trying to warn me. And I wish he was not so scary, because he has like red glowing eyes and has like a hat. But I also think it may be a family member I think it actually is a person that has kind of monstrous looks about him. So it's not the typical hat man. So the following day, when I was cleaning out my apartment, there was everything was pretty much damaged except for I have a writing desk that was salvaged, and it was from the 1800s, and that was salvaged, but all my other furniture was destroyed. So, but as I'm packing up all the stuff I could salvage, I look I can see basically his outline on the wall. I did take a picture of it because it was clear. You can clearly see him. He didn't have red glowing eyes, but you can see his outline, and it looked like he was laughing. So I thought he was taking responsibility for it. But now my relationship with him is a lot better in the sense I feel like that he is just a harbinger. So if I see him, it's just giving me sort of a heads up that something's about to happen. Okay. So that happened. I've had multiple. There was a fire. My neighbors, their television caught on fire, and I've never heard of a modern television catching on fire, but and it was right next door. I will tell you this: I've heard. So I'm working on a book on Lizzie Borden. So it's not just Lizzie Borden, but it's also other people that she's related to, and that I'm also related to as well. So it's called Lizzie Borden's Family Murders. So kind of dealing with it. I've been hearing a disembodied screaming woman for the past 2 months, and I feel like that there's a woman with me. So the woman standing behind me that you guys, Chris, you picked up earlier, is probably related to her. This woman wants me to tell her story, and I do feel like that the fire was sort of like my you got to focus on this, Sam. You got almost like she's demanding me to tell her story and to tell it correctly. And so nothing. I mean, we're fine. That wasn't a damage, but it was kind of like a wake up call, like to write this book.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, very.
This is weird.
Huh.
What's going on?
Well, you know,
What's weird, Chris?
everybody knows, you know, I'm an ex-cop. I come from a family of law enforcement. I've been in construction my entire career. And we're talking about the lady that every time you're on our show, you were on Entity Voices, Paranormal Evidence twice. I see this woman in a pink dress and I say it's Lacey, and the word chiffon just jumped into my head. And people that know me know that that's not a word that Chris uses.
That's not your daily vocabulary, chiffon?
Right. That's not. So it just popped into my head. The lady I see standing behind you, 1940s, brown hair, pink chiffon dress. And chiffon is not a word I would normally know. I don't know why it popped into my head.
This is something that I'm working on, and I'm going to tell you guys because I think it's related. I'm also related to Marilyn Monroe, and so I've been so is Lizzie Borden as well. And so this woman, she goes by. So Marilyn doesn't go by Marilyn; she goes by Norma Jean. And so it could be Norma Jean. The way she presents herself is not Marilyn Monroe. She presents herself as Norma Jean, with darker hair.
Which is kind of ironic because her natural hair color is brown.
Right.
Yes. And that's how she presents herself to me. And I feel, now that I know that we're related, I do feel like that she's one of my guides. She's someone that wants me to solve. I feel like my mom and I were talking about this actually over Christmas. My mom has always had this, I've always felt a kindred spirit to her. But I've never really, I'm not like obsessed with her story, but my mom has been. And so my mother thinks she was murdered, and she wants me to solve it.
Right.
And the thing is, for me, like when I connect to her, she's related to us, but she did not know her biological father. So my conversations with her as a medium has been primarily that she didn't know her father, and that was sort of like something that she thought about her entire life was her daddy.
Right.
And it shaped her relationships. It shaped everything about her. And the fact that she has a father, Charles Gifford, and he's part of our family. We're connected to him. And
Wow.
he did not accept her. He did not because the father was sort of like kept secret because he was married. So it was out of marriage that he had. So Marilyn's, but we now know Marilyn's biological father. So I do feel like that as someone that is part of my family and we're related distantly, that I want to let her know, like, she's got a father. She's part of our family, and she's welcome to share her story and to be part of my life. Because I feel like that I feel a kindred spirit with her now. So
yeah, absolutely, that's fascinating.
It is very fascinating. It's kicking me. I didn't do anything yet.
You kicking her? That's a precursor kick.
No, she kicked me.
Oh,
She's like that for future.
What's up, puppy dog, Lacey? Lacey always likes to make an appearance. Our puppy dog, Lacey, go. Please, who's here? Who's here?
There she
Lacey.
is.
Go. Who's here?
That's funny.
So
Sam, what do you got coming up?
So you kind of touched on it. So Haunted Castles in New England, I actually finished that book earlier this year. It's just taken them a while to release it. It should be coming out in June of 2026. I also have the book that I'm currently writing now, and it's called Lizzie Borden's Family Murders. And it's actually going to be a companion to Ryan Murphy does the Monster docuseries on Netflix, and he did one on the Menendez brothers. He did one on the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, and so he's doing one on Lizzie Borden. So this one is actually, I'm hoping to dispel some of the myths and misconceptions associated with Lizzie Borden in my book. So I want to put it out there as a companion to Ryan Murphy's docuseries on Lizzie Borden. And so that should be coming out in September or October, and that's what I'm currently working on now. He also is bringing in other people that we're related to in the docuseries, and the reason why I know this is because they have been cast in the series. One of them is Eileen Warnos, is another family member that we're connected to, and so he's bringing in other monsters that in his casting. And so I wrote a book called Related to Evil, and I actually sent it to Ryan Murphy a couple years ago. I'm not sure if he was inspired by my book, but hopefully he was, and so he is focusing on other family members that are tied to the family.
Wow,
that is
you're
fantastic.
a busy man.
You are a busy man. Okay, we've got about 4 more minutes. This is the time that you can where can people find your books?
So yeah, definitely go to sambaltrusis.com. And I want to point out as well, I'm bringing back I produce a convention called Mass Paracon. Mass Paracon happens every, usually September, October. This year it's going to be October 2nd through the 4th. And go to massparacon.com. And it's an amazing convention. I'm bringing it back because my good friend David Taylor, who passed away this past January, was the sponsor and to me like the rock behind the convention. And after he passed, I feel like he wants me to bring it back. So I'm bringing it back in October. We have 2 vendor tables left, and we definitely have plenty of tickets left. I would love to see as many people watching this to go to Mass Paracon in October. It's going to be in Taunton. And every year it's a different location. This year it's going to be in Taunton, which is really close to Fall River. And we're going to talk a lot about Lizzie Borden and the Borden murders.
Fantastic.
Nice.
And I think you have a bunch of Paracons that you attend and you guest speak at, correct?
Yeah, so I pretty much this year. So last year I was pretty much doing every weekend. This year I'm doing 1 a month, although that's kind of slowly becoming 2 a month. But yeah, so my first one is the Hanover Tavern Paracon coming up in January, and
Yep.
David Taylor was one of his favorites as well. I'm going to Dead of Winter with Troy Taylor's events in February, and then I'm doing the Obscura Paracon in March. That's in Illinois, DeKalb, Illinois. So any in Minnesota. So my good friend So Dave Schrader, he recently purchased the Palmer House, the hotel, and I was planning on hopefully doing an event there. It hasn't been announced yet, but now that knowing that Dave owns it, and for those that watch Curse of Lizzie Borden, he was one of the castmates on the show, so I know Dave very well, and I would love to go there. And it's like another location, the Montgomery House, the Palmer House in Minnesota is the location I get called to. So hopefully 2026 I'll do that location in Minnesota.
Okay, cool.
If you're not there by July, Sam, let us know at the bash and we will hold Dave down and make him commit.
Right.
That is fantastic. Oh, Sam, it was so awesome getting to talk to you again. These two are sick. Those 2 are sick. Oh, I got it right.
I'm sick.
Good job.
Sam's sick. So,
so thanks for showing up.
Thanks for showing up.
We appreciate it very much.
We normally do. We have a ton to talk to Sam about. He's got so much going on. We can definitely have him back on in 2026 for sure.
Absolutely.
And, are you going to be at the next year?
Oh, also tomorrow's my birthday. So
happy birthday! Happy birthday, Sam.
Yeah, I'm turning. I'm not going to say how old I'm turning, but
29.
29 tomorrow.
29.
I've turned 29 quite a few times.
Me too. But it's a great age.
It is a great age.
I gave up on the whole 29 thing. Nobody believes me anymore. So, but Sam, thank you so much for coming on and gracing us with your presence again. It's always fantastic to have you on. But we value you being on the show. Not only that, we value being a portion of your life, and hopefully we can call each other friends because it's fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that you see the woman behind me. So I'm like, that makes me that's a connection right there. So love you guys. Have a good night.
Love you, Sam. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, guys, tune in next week. It will just be Todd and Carmela. Bye, Sam. It'll just be Todd and Carmela next week. Audra and I will be in Cancun. So
sorry, guys.
Enjoy Cancun.
And I know Todd and Carmela came to us from London, but unfortunately, guys, we would love to come.
For us is work.
This is for work, for one. And let me teach you something. The Wi-Fi in Cancun sucks.
Yeah, I hear
So I don't want to ruin the show. Unfortunately, we're not going to be a portion of it because next week we have Todd.
Krista Cesare.
Krista Cesare.
Oh my gosh. Todd,
Yes, and
Todd,
he will be able to,
God.
Todd and Carmela will be able to talk to him
It'll
about
be a
his
good
Netflix
conversation.
special. What was it called again? The Netflix special? The Ghost
Ghost Boy. Oh God, I'm having a brain fart because I'm on medication. Ghost Boy of
Cancun.
no, not King.
Ghost Boy of Cancun.
It is Erie Hall Ghost Boy. So
Erie
that's
Hall
big.
Ghost Boy,
Erie
that's it.
Hall,
Yeah.
Ghost Boy.
So
Guys,
we're
make sure
looking forward to that.
make sure you tune in next week, not only to support Todd and Carmela, unfortunately we can't be here, but to check out Krista Cesare in Ghost Boy of Erie Hall. Guys, if you haven't checked it out on Netflix, check it out, because if you watch that prior to next week's show, everything will make a ton of sense. And
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
this man went through when he was in college is just phenomenal. And the fact that he is able to talk about it in a positive light at this point, it is just amazing. So make sure you guys tune in next week to Stay Haunted. Make sure you guys go to sambaltrusis.com. Look at all of Sam's books. Look at everything that Sam's done. He's an amazing guy. He's a great person. Guys, don't waste any time getting to sambaltrusis.com. Tune in to Stay Haunted next week, guys. The only way that all of this stuff happens in the paranormal, you make friends, you have experiences, you go places, you do investigations, and you catch voices, is to stay haunted. All right, guys. We'll see you next
Happy
week.
New Year, everybody. Thanks for
Happy New
tuning in.
Year. Good night.
Right.